This is video 2, trying to avoid any product placements whatsoever. I am not paid by any companies to use any of the products I've used. It's just what I had to hand. So the toothpaste that I have used on the copper type ribs of this vintage chest, I have now removed it. There's still a bit of residual marks here, which I'll go over again. And straight away, I can see that it's a lot more shinier and less dull than the others. So all in all, I think I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. Like I said, I do not want to take away from this chest anything that is still in good condition, in my opinion, and is what was on it originally. One of my pet hates is, when people do get old pieces of furniture and they modernize them. I'm not saying that is a bad thing, because, each to their own. But when they completely, in my opinion, bastardize something and make it into something it wasn't originally, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I have been quite happy to watch programs like Money for Nothing, and, also even the Repair Shop. At times, if something is so badly worn or fatigued, they will replace it. And I do like the Repair Shop a lot more than programs like Money for Nothing, because they do try to be as authentic as they can in showing people lost and renewed skills. And these skills, unfortunately, like restoration, are being lost. And the reason they're being lost is because they're not being taught. You don't have apprenticeships as much as you would have years and years ago. So if you were somebody training to be a carpenter or a saddle maker, or you were training to be a tailor, so many of these skills are now being lost because there's nobody to replace the older generation. And it is such a shame that, and you're probably thinking, well, why would anyone need to know how to repair an old chest, an old travel chest? But what you've got to realise is these were chests that people would take on voyages with them, voyages that would be for months and months, on ships or by rail. Cars didn't exist, and people that could afford them were the ones who were really, really rich. So you would have something like this travel chest, and as the owner of a travel chest, I'll get my words out in a minute, travel chest, you would personalize it for your own needs, your own things that you want in there, that you want to be taking with you if you've decided to go on the Orient Express, or you're going on a voyage like the Titanic, for example, which, as we know, sank. But again, it would have been these types of things, or very similar, that people would have carried onto ships and onto trains, or even would have been carried by oxen, or camels, if you had gone and you were visiting Egypt. And you want something that's going to last. You want something that, if it was to break or needed a bit of TLC, could be repaired. So there would have been people out there that didn't just obviously make these for a living. They would also have the skills in order to repair them if needs be. There wasn't so much of what we have today, which is called a throwaway culture. Nowadays, obviously, if this was to break, most people would go, all right, don't need it, throw it in the bin, I'll get a new one. But just lately, what I have found with a lot of people is, because of the cost of living going up, people can't afford to be so I'm trying to think of the word, reckless, maybe that's the right word. So people are genuinely being a little bit more frugal, and things like these travel chests, on occasions, they will come up in charity shops or at auction houses. And there is a market for people that want something a little bit different, a little bit, not your average IKEA furniture or something you could just pick up from Argos. And I myself fell in love with this the moment I saw it, and now I'm restoring it and using it for something in my house, which is going to be a coffee table. So we'll just have to see what happens.